Welcome back to another episode of r/entitled Parent Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Karen is a non-tipper, so I deliver her pizza last. After that, update, my entitled mom wants to buy my eggs in exchange for a PS5. And after that, don't want to give me my last paycheck? Make that a double. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen gets her pizza delivered last. It's not delivery, Reddit boy. It's DiGiorno. So please tap that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Karen is a non-tipper, so I deliver her pizza last. I was the only driver working due to the restaurant being short-staffed. This one lady ordered, and then 2 minutes later, 2 more orders came in, so I had to take a triple. The first time I delivered to her, she shouted at me to just leave the pizza on the porch. The second time, I just left it there. She didn't pre-tip, so there was no chance for me to get a tip when I just left. The other 2 orders had pre-tips of $18 and $6 each. The $18 tip was for like 7 pizzas and wings. They were all in an opposite direction, northeast and south. So I took the big tippers, then the medium tippers, then hers. By the time I got there, it had been 70 minutes since she ordered, and as I rolled up, she came out of the house to shout at me for being late. She asked, "Why the heck did it take so long?" So I straight up told her that I had 3 orders spread out and that since she didn't tip, I took hers last. This set her off. She shouted about how I didn't know she wasn't going to tip me and that I had made assumptions about her. So she called up the store and told my manager that I'm the one in the wrong here. She lied and said that I yelled at her and she demanded a new fresh pizza. I was the only guy working and we had 2 other orders I needed to take. So I told the manager that, I quote, "I'm never gonna deliver to that lying jerk again." My manager was cool with it. He knows about the customer complaints, I guess. So he told her that she'd get a refund, but that we couldn't send another order out today. She complained to corporate, and apparently the district manager called my in-store manager, who talked down the DM and said something like, "We can't afford to lose staff right now." Am I the jerk for taking deliveries out of order to favor tippers over her? Or for refusing delivery after she yelled and lied about me yelling at her? Well, who do you think is the jerk? The delivery driver or Karen? Please let us know. You reap what you sow, Karen. Maybe leave a tip next time. Update. My entitled mom wants to buy my eggs in exchange for a PS5. My mother had texted me this morning asking how I felt about egg donations again. She doesn't seem mad like last time, so I think she's calmed down. I'm sorry if this doesn't seem realistic. I'm copying and pasting exactly from my messages. Me. Good morning, Mom. Did you ask me to text you when I woke up, or was that a part of my dream last night? I have very vivid dreams when I'm half awake. Entitled Mom, now demoted to just Mother. I wanted you to text me. Me. Oh, okay, so it wasn't a dream. What did you want to text about? Mom. No, just if you don't mind helping me clean my bathroom a little bit today. Me. Oh, I don't mind. Mom. You know, I've been feeling down and don't feel like doing anything today. Me. I know, Mom. I know my message makes it sound like I don't care, but my mom in the past loved to call wolf. She used to act all sad and depressed to make me feel bad about it and even once admitted to it. Mom. You still think giving me some of your eggs is weird? Me. Uncomfortable again. Very, Mom. I'm sorry. Kay. Me. Also, the procedure is like really painful, I've heard. Mother. No, it's not. Me. What do you mean? Mother. I don't think it's painful, but I understand. Me. Have you even heard how they do it? How they get the eggs out? Mother. Yes, small little incisions where they go in there and get them out. Me. They have to give you so many shots that in some cases you have to do it yourself. Then, after so many ultrasound tests, they check how many there are. Mother. Yes, you're right. Me. Plus, I checked online, and it can really affect the way I have kids. It's very dangerous, Mom. I don't want to be selfish when I say that. Even if I don't know if I want kids yet, I don't want to lower my chances of getting them because there are risks. Mother, probably now realizing that it's wrong of her to ask me. I know, that's what I'm scared about. I would never want to affect you for me to be selfish. Me. I'm scared about it too. There are so many risks, especially for my age, as I could be too young for it. That's why the age minimum is at least 19 to 21. Some places require you to even have a kid first. Mother. I'm just saying, babe. I won't ask you, babe, because like you said, it's not easy, and I'm scared that it would affect you. Then why would you ask me in the first place? Me. I'm sorry though. I said I want to help you in any way I can, but I'm just not sure with what else. Mother. That's okay, babe. Maybe I need to go to therapy or counseling or something. Me. Yeah, Mom. I think that would be best. The conversation after that got off topic to what I should clean after I clean her bathrooms. So I think she's not going to ask me again because the topic of me having my own kids came up. If she can't get a baby herself, I plan on giving her a grandchild a bit earlier. I say about 4 to 6 years from now. I'd be 19 to 21, the same age she was when she had me. I also learned from her that if I want more kids, don't get an IUD. Those mess you up really bad apparently. And get the kids while you're still young enough. What would you do if your mom asked you to donate your eggs to her? Would you or not? Please let us know. I kept waiting for Mom to Karen out, but she never did. Some of my faith in humanity has been reinstated. Don't want to give me my last paycheck? Make that a double. This happened to me in spring of 2017. In 2016, I was unhappy at my current position with not very many hours and too much drama. I started shopping around for a new job. Got a few offers, nothing that I'd take, as the one I had allowed me to have weekends off so that I could work my second job. I eventually landed an interview with a brand new construction company. So I sat down, and who walks out? An acquaintance I work with on the weekends. We start chatting about this and that. It's a ski resort, so it was mostly about skiing, which tends to be very enthusiastic. So needless to say, I'm offered the job on the spot, as I have a real work reference right there. I took the job as it was exactly what I was looking for, with a work vehicle as a perk, an expense account. Turns out that was me just spending my own money and getting reimbursed. One of many shady practices and red flags. Edit. This was supposed to be a company credit card, not a reimbursement account. Being American, I needed some health care. I ended up having to borrow money for a medical procedure. At the time, not realizing he offered this money on purpose so I couldn't leave. Or I could leave and actually owe him money, which I would have owed him a lot, so I'm stuck. About a year goes by, and I see one tradesman after another get hired on, then fired. It was a repeating pattern, so I knew my time was limited if I paid him back. I also knew I'd have a tough time getting paid, even if the amount earned was more than what I owed. So I began looking for another job. Found one easily enough. More perks, a way better reputable company. I knew I had time, so I planned my exit with only 3 days worked on the pay period. So when I received my direct deposit, I had only worked and was owed for 3 days. I could easily live with losing that money. So I go to the secretary and pay off my draw, get a receipt, and my balance is 0. Double check with the boss that we are square. Yes, he texts back, "Thank you for paying me back early. Thanks for the evidence." Boom, it all goes down in a crap show. I returned everything. Owner threatens to call the cops. Says I owe him way more than I did. Claims I broke everything in my vehicle. One of the beautiful things about a boss that is never on site is most everything is done by email or text. I send him screenshots of everything, including a picture of my 0 balance owed. Text back, I'll get my last check in the mail. Thanks for more evidence. 2 months go by. I called twice after a few weeks. Got hung up on. Placed on hold, then hung up on. Oh, you want to hang up on me, huh? Let's see how the Department of Labor feels about it. File a wage claim with the Department of Labor. Lady straight up tells me there's not much she can do because all the boss has to do is dispute it. And then it will go to a hearing and be dragged out for possibly years over a few $100s. Email her everything. She compliments me on my thorough documentation and says I might have a case. She then tries to contact my former employer, gets hung up on, gets placed on hold. Then she got yelled at by the boss's girlfriend, who happened to be there filling in for the boss when he was in Mexico. There is no way we owe that guy money. He was a real piece of work, and he owes us money, and I want to speak to your supervisor. No hearing was needed. OP, here is your check. Please come by the Department of Labor to pick it up. I go to pick up my check. She then hands me a form and says that if I'm satisfied, check that box, but I'd like a more thorough investigation if one is warranted, and she strongly suggested that I check that box, so I did. 1 week later, I received another identical paycheck, which I had to go pick up. In the meantime, my friend who worked in the office started documenting everything from her side, and had a similar experience when she quit. What a shocker. Am I the jerk for refusing to pay my half of our canceled wedding? My ex-fiance and I came from very different cultural backgrounds. Our families live on entirely different continents. I explicitly told him before we even got engaged that I always wanted a small, low-key wedding. I know that his cultures have huge, lavish weddings, and he told me that this is what he wants. So when we got engaged, we had a long conversation, which resulted in the compromise that we would have a big wedding in his home country, but drop some of the other aspects of his culture that I wasn't so comfortable with, or did not mesh well with my own culture. Regarding living situation and raising kids. For future kids, we did not have any currently. This was not a huge amount of customs. In fact, we just arranged to drop one and alter two, so they streamlined better with my own culture. We were both as happy as possible with this outcome. We began making booking, reservations, and paying deposits for our wedding. This was all out of his bank account. This is because we did not have citizenship in each other's countries, so it was far less complicated for everything to be paid from an account of the same country. The intention was that after we married, it would be much easier to get citizenship, and once citizenship was approved, we would merge our finances, and at this point it would not matter who had paid for the wedding, since all of our money would be together. 3 weeks before we were married, his mother and aunts got wind of one of the customs we had arranged to alter and lost it. Through conversations, they then found out about the other two, and eventually they threatened to disown him for being a bad son. They said I was cutting him off from his family, and that if that was what he wanted, they would make it easier for him. He begged me to change my mind, but I was firm, saying that this is what we decided together. I wasn't going to drop our agreement because his family didn't like it, when there are plenty of aspects my own family are uncomfortable with. Relationships are about compromise and communication, and ultimately, the first priority are the two people in the relationship, not their family. He told me if I wouldn't budge, then the wedding was off. I told him I had made my compromise. I still wanted to marry him under our original conditions, when we had spent a long time negotiating and originally felt were fair. He said he had changed his mind and did not want to marry me. After a few weeks, he contacted me, asking me to pay him back for half the money he was unable to get back from the deposits we paid. Since it was so close to the planned date that we canceled, it was not a small amount of money. However, since he was the one who called off the wedding, and even at this point, I would still marry him if he were to honor our original agreement, I don't think I'm obliged to pay. I told him this, and he is very unhappy, since now he believes it's my fault that he canceled for being unwilling to be flexible. Am I the jerk for refusing to pay half of our canceled wedding? Edit. It's come up a few times that if I were the one canceling the wedding, would I expect him to pay half the cost? I have replied to a few comments, but it's coming up enough that I figured I'd add something to the post. If I had been the one canceling without his approval, I would have expected to pay the cost alone. If it had been a mutual decision, I would have expected to share the cost. In the context of our relationship, it makes sense for him to take the hit for this. There have been other, albeit less significant, cancellations of events that have been covered by the person who canceled. For example, I was unable to make our planned engagement shoot and paid the cost for this. He was, before lockdown, unable to attend a prepaid dinner event, for which he covered the cost. We've always had a very balanced and understanding financial relationship. Edit 2. I'll copy and paste an earlier comment regarding the traditions my ex-fiancé compromised on. The traditions were regarding my role in the home as a wife and a mother, multi-generational households, and methods of raising kids and the role of a kid in the household. I don't feel comfortable providing more information than that because I don't wish to give any more evidence towards our nationalities. Also, as a few of you have guessed, English is not my first language. I tried to hide it, but I guess I still have improvements to make. All this is to say that I apologize for any mistakes in my posts or comments. Well, what do you think? Should OP have to pay half of the wedding cancellation costs or not? Please let us know. No, and congrats, you dodged a bullet. Marry this boy and you'll spend the rest of your life bending to the will of your entitled in-laws. Am I the jerk for telling my partner that my stepson spends too much time at our house and his mother needs to make more of an effort? Okay, so I've been dating this guy now for nearly 8 months. We've been living together for 2. Everything was going great. We're like best friends and have so much in common. His 4-year-old son is now proving to be a bit of a strain on our relationship, and I feel like I can't take him anywhere. His son throws tantrums, slams doors when he doesn't get what he wants, smashing the glass on my sister's door. When we buy him things, he says, "I don't want that," or "I don't like it." When we take him to a store, he picks up everything he sees and throws tantrums when he doesn't get them, spits his food out when we cook for him, tells us he doesn't like us, makes fun of my 7-year-old niece and makes her cry when he says things to her, as well as throwing her things off of our balcony, etc. He is a nightmare. Let me just add that his dad always has to buy him new toys every time he takes him out, which I told him he shouldn't. His mother is now treating us like a daycare. She had him for 1 day last week, and we're having him next week while she goes on holiday with her new boyfriend and goes out with her friends. My partner is now currently unemployed, and I'm the main breadwinner and struggling to support all 3 of us due to having to buy extra food and more gas and electric usage. I'm also woken up at 7 a.m. every Saturday and Sunday because my stepson wants the iPad charging or more games downloading when weekends are supposed to be my time after working all day Monday through Friday. I don't finish until 8 p.m. I told my partner this has to stop, and my place cannot be treated like a daycare. He needs to either A, take him out on weekends, or B, rotate it so that we only have him every other weekend. I feel like my life has been taken over as well as my apartment, as his son has his own bedroom and my things have been taken out of drawers and placed into plastic bags, which I'm now living out of. My partner is struggling being away from his son, and I feel horrible for giving him an ultimatum. But I feel like I need to look after myself too, as I never did this in my last relationship. I suffer from depression and anxiety, and I feel this whole situation is making things worse. Am I the jerk? Edit. I'm not trying to stop my partner from seeing his son. I am merely implying that the kid needs routine and equal time with both mom and dad on rotating days, in which my partner also agrees. I know they come as a package, and I'm willing to take this on, but neither parent is financially supporting this kid. Well, what do you think? Is OP the jerk in this case or not? Please let us know. Oh, she's just not a good fit for this relationship. She'll be much better off if she finds a man who doesn't have kids. Karen refused to accept that I was no longer with my previous company. At my first job, which was an online directory and blog, we had a client who was entitled to a free limited-time premium listing. This included a short write-up about her business on our website, which would then be hidden/unpublished after her premium list had expired, if she decided to not avail of the paid premium package. Basically, she was on a free trial. I was on the editorial team and first encountered her when I had to interview her for the write-up. My colleagues had advised me to be careful because she was rather irritable and rude, but I spoke to her in English. English is not the primary language in my country, and she was very nice to me. I wrote the article and everything was fine until her free premium listing expired. The account manager assigned to her updated her weekly on the status of her account and reminded her that the premium listing would soon expire. She yelled at my colleagues on the phone, saying that a business as large and successful as hers, with celebrity clientele, should automatically have a premium account whether she paid for it or not. Then she refused to speak to anyone except the general manager or me, an editorial assistant. As our GM was in a meeting outside at the time, the sales manager, account manager, and I took the call over speakerphone in a conference room. As soon as they informed her that I was now on the call, her tone changed and she was suddenly polite. She asked if we could keep the write-up that I worked so hard on published on the site, even if she would no longer be on the premium package. She then went on to say that surely someone with my educational background and who went to the same uni as she did would understand. I think this came up while we were making small talk during an event. I told her that it wasn't up to me to make the call as I was an editorial assistant, but that we would be happy to keep the write-up published for another month if she decided to purchase the premium package for the next month. Taking my cue from the sales manager, who was writing down some responses to help sell her the package, I then said something like, a successful entrepreneur like herself would understand that we needed to provide these premium services from that point for those with paid subscriptions. Finally, she agreed and paid for the next month to keep her account's premium status. I resigned shortly after that, for unrelated reasons. 2 to 3 months later, I received a call from this client. Side note, we were not issued company phones at my first job, so I used my personal number to contact clients for phone interviews, and the company would just reimburse. I was surprised because I contacted all the clients I had worked with before I left to inform them about who would be handling their editorial needs upon my departure. She was complaining that her write-up had been taken down and that I had to do something about it. I informed her that I was no longer affiliated with the company, but that I would pass her concern along to my former colleagues. The call ended and I contacted my former colleague to let her know about the client's concern. Guess what? The client had not paid for the premium package in the last 2 months. Several months go by, and one Sunday, I am awakened at 4 a.m. by my phone ringing. It's her again, and this time, she isn't at all polite. She was yelling at me, saying I didn't republish her article and that her listing had gone back to basic, free status. She said that the company should be grateful to have her listed because she had celebrity clientele and that she was a celebrity in the industry in her own right. She was infamous, not famous. I was done with her by now, so I repeated that I didn't work there anymore, and if she wanted a premium account, she should pay for it like everyone else. Then I said that if she contacted me again, I would sue her for harassment, and I hung up. It was an empty threat, but she never contacted me again. Years later, I found out that she had been blacklisted because she never paid for a year's worth of the premium listing. Karen tells me to stop the ride, so I did. The day I made a Karen cry. I work at an amusement park, and we have this ride called the Big Whale. This ride is 100% controlled by the operator. A couple of weeks ago, this woman and her friend came up to my ride, making fun of one of the kids that was on the ride. She was saying so many mean things about how I looked. Without even looking at her, I told her to stop, and this is how it went. Me: "You're literally talking about a 7-year-old. You need to stop, or you will not be allowed on the ride." Karen: "But it's true. Look at them." Me: "Don't disrespect our other guests, please. It's not okay." Karen's friend: "Stop, Karen, before you get us in trouble again." Karen: "Whatever." When the ride was finished, I start letting the next group of people on. I say, "Do not pull down on the bars. Pick any seat you'd like," to everyone as they walk in, since pulling on the bars can break the seats over time. I let a group of boys in before Karen's group, and they sat at the end seats. Karen marches over to the kids, yelling at them to get out of her seat and that she paid to sit at the end. Me: "Miss, please stop yelling at the kids, or you will be removed from the ride with no refund on your ticket." Karen: "Don't tell me." Karen's friend: "Stop it, Karen. Just sit in the middle." She complained the whole time, walking to the middle seats and then pulled down the bar. I was thinking it was time to get a manager over, but I didn't want to bother them with her. Once I got everyone seated, I closed all the seat bars. When I was checking the seats, Karen's one was on the loose side, so I pushed it in a little to make it tighter. Karen: "You're trying to hurt me. First you left my seat open, now you're making it so I can't breathe." I ignore her and keep checking seats. When I finally start the ride, I slowly rock it, and Karen is screaming to take her off. So I made the ride go faster, doing full circles now. Halfway during the ride, Karen screams, "Stop the ride, you idiot!" She wants me to stop it? Fine with me. I park the ride when it's at the top, like I do when closing, but keeping the ride on. The 6 others on the ride weren't scared that the ride had stopped. Karen started screaming, crying, and begging to be let down. The parents watching knew what Karen had said to their kids, and they knew what was going on and started laughing. After around 30 seconds, she's screaming for me to let her down still. So I do. On the fastest setting, I start the ride spinning full speed. I made the ride a little bit longer since all of the kids were having fun. Before I open the seats, I scream a warning. Me: "Wait for the bars to be fully open and stay above your head before getting up. Stay seated." Karen pushes it up and gets up, having the bar fall back down and hit her on her head. Her friend laughed at her, got her up, and walked her off the ride. Have you ever been on a roller coaster? If so, what was it called? Please let us know. I can't wait to go to Six Flags again. Dun 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 dun. Chef refused customers' no mayo request. Chef at the restaurant I work at just hates it if anyone tries to change his almighty perfect food. I'm working lunch, and a girl and her parents come in. Girl orders the turkey sandwich with no mayo. The turkey sandwich is pretty good, and the chef roasts the turkey, then slices it thick. Of course, turkey isn't the most moist of foods, so I can understand that you would want a sauce or mayo. But this is a clear case of the customer is right. She wanted a turkey sandwich, no mayo. Just make the sandwich, right? I put in the order knowing the chef might say something about it, and sure enough, right away he calls me back to the kitchen and says he won't make it. The sandwich will be too dry, so he can't make it without mayo. I argue, but he says buzz off. I asked the manager about it, but the chef has more power than him at this restaurant, so he just shrugs and tells me there's nothing he can do about it. So I guess there's nothing else to do. I go to the table and apologize profusely and let them know that the chef doesn't think it will be good. At this point, I'm fearing for the worst and brace myself. I then get a huge surprise because the dad goes, "Oh, darn. Some chefs are like that." He shakes his head but lets me know it's not my fault. The daughter didn't protest and just ordered something else. Thank God for anti-Karens. Aftermath. A few days later, I caught the owner and say that it's ridiculous, and he agrees, so he tells the chef to grant customers' requests. The chef got really upset. But so what? I'm hopefully not going to have to be here much longer. The owner mostly does what the chef says. The owner is also pretty stuck up, so maybe that's why they like each other so much. Edit. Not that it matters, but the chef does make the mayo. Someone pointed out that if he's such a great chef, why does his roast turkey turn out dry? It shouldn't need mayo, right? Wish I thought of this and argued that point. His response to egg allergies would have been that they have to order a dish without eggs and not get the turkey sandwich. I couldn't do mayo on the side either because he refused to alter the sandwich at all. The sandwich is sliced thick turkey, Swiss, dried cranberries, mixed greens, and mayo on bread he also makes. The cranberries kind of fall off, so I don't think it's some masterpiece, but the chef thinks all his dishes are perfect. He told all of the servers no modifications. Chips aren't that big of a deal. I was new to being a manager on duty, so I'm somewhat nervous, and on top of that, I usually work the night shift. Some of the customers we had were ones I'd never seen before. Here comes customer 1, change in hand, and 1 bag of chips. They hand me the chips, I scan them, and they freak out. Customer 1, excuse me? Your ad says those should have been $2.50. I'm not paying $3 for 1 bag. You need to adjust the price. That's false advertising. That price is outrageous. Me, I'm sorry, ma'am. Can you show me where it says this? If it's true, I'll honor it. We go to the aisle where she claimed the ad was. The ad actually said 2 for $5. She points at the ad, grabs it off the shelf, and holds it about 5 inches from my face. I have a bit of a temper, but trying to be professional, I take the ad and explain. Me, ma'am, this says 2 bags for $5. In order for the bag to cost $2.50, you need to buy 2. If you only buy 1, it's the regular price. That's false advertising. How was I supposed to know that? There's nothing on here that says that. I want your manager. I know she'll fix it. She always fixes stuff like this. Me, yes ma'am. I'll have her up here in a minute or 2. I say, calling her up to the front to tell us woman that the ad isn't wrong. A minute or 2 goes by, but my manager isn't on her way yet. I call her again, and she says she's busy with a truck. I tell the customer my manager can't get away from the truck as nice as possible, realizing my situation. Her face immediately turns from patiently happy to unyielding rage. At this point, I just want to change the price so she'll leave, but we can't change prices for an ad that isn't wrong. She's staring me down, demands a price change or my manager, and is now holding up my line of 3 people. Here's the explosion. Me, excuse me ma'am, there are customers waiting behind you. Would you mind stepping to the side so I can help them? I'm sure manager 1 won't be much longer. Customer, this is ridiculous. You're not even finished helping me. Hold on. She pulls out her cell phone and calls customer 2, her husband. Baby, these people aren't doing their job. I need to use the bathroom and I need you to hold my place in line. Can you please step in here for a bit? I guess he agreed because he walked in shortly after. She leaves, I assume to get manager 1 with a bathroom break as an excuse. Customer 2 stands there for a few minutes and asks me, so, what part of your job are you not doing? She's been a bit of a jerk lately, and I'd like to know. I explain how she wants a price change on something that wasn't advertised correctly. It's store policy to avoid doing so, and she won't take no for an answer, demanding my manager fix it for her. Customer 2, well, how much is she short? 45 cents, 60 cents. If it's not that much of a difference, I'll pay it. You seem like a nice boy. Must be new too, since I've never seen you here before. Me, I've been here for almost 5 months now, and I usually work the night shift. I tell him as I'm ringing up the people behind him. We've been short since someone quit, so I'm filling in during the day for now. Long story. He laughs, and then my store phone rings. Apparently, his wife is now demanding a price cut from my manager in the back. Manager called me to put her husband on the phone. I hand him the phone, turn to check a text message since my line was empty, and I heard some words that still make me laugh randomly when I think about them. Customer 2. Woman, if you don't get your butt up here and pay this boy for these chips, I'ma beat yo A until it's a color shrimp can't see. If I gotta go back there, the boy's getting a lick too. You're grown, so act like it. I'm laughing so hard, I dropped my phone. Luckily, she came up front. My manager came with her since the truck was checked in now. The husband hands me her chips again so I can scan them and tell her the price. She's so red at this point. I'm just waiting for her to start calling me names. She looks truly defeated that we couldn't knock off $1.11, I think, for some stupid chips. She walks to their car, but the husband stays. He gave me a $20 tip. Click this button to join as a member today, and we'll give you a special shout out in our next video. And watch this video next. You won't believe what happens.